My daughter's voice was the first crack in the world I thought I understood. Mom, stop being dramatic. It's just an old box. Just an old box. I stood in the doorway of my late mother's bedroom, stunned, staring at the empty space on the dresser where the porcelain music box had sat every day of my life. White, with painted blue forget-me-nots. A tiny ballerina pirouetting when you opened the lid. My mother's favorite possession. The one she'd made me promise to protect. "This house is full of junk," Lauren continued, waving a manicured hand. "I figured you wouldn't miss it." "I wouldn't—" My throat closed around the words. "Lauren, that box was the only thing your grandmother asked me to keep. Why would you take it?" She shrugged, doing that little half-smile she used when she wanted to appear innocent. "Relax. I sold it. I needed cash for my down payment." I felt the air leave my lungs. "You sold your grandmother's music box?" "Mom, it wasn't worth anything. Antique stores don't want knickknacks." She crossed her arms. "Besides, Grandma is gone. It's not like she cares." The casual cruelty in her voice sliced deeper than I expected. "And where," I managed, "did you sell it?" "Renaissance Pawn, downtown." "Of course, the pawn shop her boyfriend frequented." My daughter left breezily, calling over her shoulder. "Honestly, Mom, you should get rid of this old stuff. It's depressing." The door shut. Silence pressed against me. And inside that silence, something shattered quietly. My mother had whispered to me on her deathbed, "When I'm gone, the box will tell you what to do." At the time, I thought it was the rambling of a dying woman. I was wrong. Renaissance Pawn smelled like dust and regret. The man behind the counter looked up as I approached. His name tag said, Victor. His eyes said, "I've heard every sob story." "You're here about the music box," he said before I could speak. My stomach dropped. "How did you know?" "Your daughter warned me you might show up. Said you get emotional about sentimental things." Emotional, as if grief were an inconvenience. "I want to buy it back," I said. "Whatever you paid, I'll double it." Victor winced. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, it's already sold." My pulse stumbled. "Sold? When?" "This morning. A man came in with a picture of the exact box, asked if anything like it had come through recently." A picture. Someone had been looking for my mother's box. "Who bought it?" I demanded. "He paid cash. No name." Victor hesitated, then lowered his voice. But there was something weird about the box. The bottom plate was loose, like someone had tampered with it. We found an envelope inside. He reached under the counter and pulled out a small white envelope. "You found something?" My heart thudded. "Yeah. I figured it belonged to the family and the buyer wouldn't care." My fingers trembled as I opened it. Inside was a single folded sheet. My mother's handwriting, still graceful even in old age. "If you found this, it means I couldn't tell you myself. The truth is bigger than our family and more dangerous." Beneath the words was a string of numbers and letters. K7L93FT 221B. I stared at it, a cold knot forming in my spine. "What does it mean?" Victor asked. "I don't know, but I did know something. My mother was not a woman who left mysteries, so if she hid a code inside a music box, something was very, very wrong." When I got home, Lauren was waiting in my kitchen, scrolling through her phone. "You made a scene at the pawn shop," she said without looking up. "Did Victor call you?" "No. His friend texted me, 'Mom, you can't go around accusing people of stealing.'" "You did steal," I snapped. "You sold something that wasn't yours." Lauren rolled her eyes. "God, here we go. Mom, you're spiraling. Grandma died 2 months ago. You're clinging to useless objects like they matter." "They do matter," I whispered. "They were her life." Lauren softened for a moment. "Look, I know you're grieving, but you're being irrational. Maybe you should talk to someone." "Don't." "Mom," I said don't. She shut her mouth, but not before I saw it. The flash of something dark behind her eyes. Not guilt, fear. "What do you know about that box?" I asked quietly. She froze. "What, nothing?" She was lying, and not very well. "Lauren," I said softly, "did someone tell you to take it?" She stiffened. "Mom, seriously, stop." Did your boyfriend ask for it? Did someone show you a photo? Her silence answered for her. Lauren, I whispered, what did you get involved in? Lauren grabbed her purse. I don't have time for this. You're being paranoid. She fled the house. And I realized my daughter wasn't just careless. She was hiding something dangerous. That night, I sat at my dining table staring at the string of letters and numbers. K7L93FT221B. It wasn't an account number, not a password, not medical, not legal. Then a memory surfaced. My mother bent over her sewing machine, humming, her old brass lockbox sitting on the shelf behind her. A lockbox she'd told me never to open. I practically ran to the attic. The lockbox was still there, heavy, cold, untouched for years. The key, taped to the bottom, exactly where she said it would be if she ever died. I inserted the key and turned. Inside was a single object, a photograph. 2 young women, my mother and another woman I didn't recognize, standing in front of a government building. Written on the back, K7L93FT221B, evidence held in auxiliary storage 1979. My breath faltered. Evidence. Storage. What did my mother hide? And who else knew? My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Stop looking. Then another. You're putting your daughter at risk. My veins turned to ice. The next morning, the doorbell rang. A tall man in a gray coat stood on my porch, holding a small parcel wrapped in brown paper. Mrs. Harper, he asked. Yes? He handed me the parcel. I'm the one who bought your mother's music box. My heart slammed against my ribs. Why? Who are you? Not here, he said quietly. They're watching. They have been since your mother died. Cold dread crawled up my spine. Why would anyone watch me? Because your mother used to work for them, he said. Because she stole something from them. And because now they think you have it. Have what? I whispered. The man looked at me with pity. The evidence your mother hid in 1979. The evidence that could destroy a very powerful family. And your daughter. He hesitated. They already approached her. My knees nearly buckled. What did they tell her? That you were unstable. That you'd found something dangerous. That cooperating with them would keep you safe. I sank into a kitchen chair, shaking. What do they want? The code, he said softly. The one your mother left you. My eyes drifted to the brown parcel. Inside was the music box. The ballerina still, porcelain cracked. But what chilled me wasn't the box. It was the man's next sentence. Mrs. Harper, he said gently, you're in more danger than you realize. They're coming for you and for Lauren, unless we move fast. I swallowed hard. What do we do? He opened the music box. Inside, beneath the velvet lining, something small and metallic gleamed. A key, not just a key, a government storage key, engraved with the same code, K7L93FT221B. The man met my terrified eyes. Your mother didn't just leave you a mystery, he said. She left you a bombshell. And now we have to retrieve it before they do. Before I could answer, a car engine revved outside. Black SUVs, 3 of them. Stopping in front of my house. The man grabbed my wrist. Too late. The man's grip tightened on my wrist. Move, he whispered. The SUV's doors opened in perfect unison. Too smooth, too controlled. 4 men stepped out, each dressed in black, each wearing the expression of someone who expected no resistance. My pulse hammered. They can't just break in, I whispered. They don't need to break in, the man said. They just need to walk in. We darted toward the back hallway. He moved with practiced efficiency, pulling the curtains shut as we passed. My legs shook, but adrenaline pushed me forward. When they get inside, he said, they'll search for 2 things, you and the key. What do they want with it? I gasped. Not the key, what it unlocks. He led me into the laundry room and pushed a tall cabinet aside, revealing a narrow service door I had barely known existed. Out, he said. We slipped into my backyard just as the front door burst open. The boom echoed through the house, wood splintering, a shouted order, heavy boots. My entire world toppled in a single sound. We kept low, crouched between overgrown hydrangeas. The man pulled his phone out, tapped rapidly, then cursed under his breath. "They jammed the signal," he muttered. "Of course they did." "They're here for the key," I whispered. "What if my daughter—" "Lauren isn't home," he said calmly. "They know that." "How do you—" "Because," he said, "they've been tracking her too." My chest constricted. "We need to go," he said. "Now." He guided me to the side gate. We slipped out into the alley. He picked up the pace, weaving through backyards and fences with the familiarity of someone who had done this before. "Who are you?" I demanded between breaths. "Someone your mother trusted." "That isn't an answer." He didn't slow. "Your mother worked for a government contractor in the late 70s. What she discovered, she tried to report it. They silenced her. Until she stole evidence. Evidence stored under that code. And she kept it hidden all my life? She didn't want you involved." "She failed," I snapped. He stopped abruptly and turned to me. "No, Lauren got involved. Your mother never planned for your daughter to be brought in." My stomach dropped. "What do you know about Lauren?" "Enough to know someone approached her weeks before your mother died. Someone told her they could help her financially if she kept an eye on you. They didn't tell her what they wanted." My vision blurred. "She thought it was harmless," he added. "She thought she was helping. She didn't understand the scale." "What scale?" I whispered. He looked at me, really looked at me, as though weighing whether to tell me the truth. "Your mother didn't steal from a corporation," he said. "She stole from a classified intelligence subdivision of the U.S. government." I froze. "That key," he continued, "unlocks a storage archive holding evidence of illegal surveillance, bribery, disappearances, the kind of data that could bring down an entire political dynasty." My breath trembled. "And you expect me to believe my mother was mixed up in all that?" He gave me a sad smile. "You'll believe it when you see what she left behind." We reached the end of the alley. The man scanned the intersection, then pulled me behind a parked truck. "Stay low," he whispered. My phone buzzed again. "Unknown number?" My blood ran cold. "Don't trust him. He isn't who he says." A second message arrived instantly. "Come home. Now they'll kill you if you leave with him." My hands shook so violently I nearly dropped the phone. The man's eyes flicked toward the screen. "Who's texting you?" "You tell me," I whispered. "Let me see." "No." His jaw tightened. "Listen to me," he said, voice low. "They will lie, manipulate, threaten, whatever it takes to get you back inside that house. Give me one reason to trust you." He hesitated just long enough to scare me. Then he said, "Because your mother gave me the code, and she told me that if anything happened to her, I needed to find you." "That still doesn't prove—" My phone rang. Not a text. A call. The caller ID made my heart stop. "Lauren." The man gestured sharply. "Don't answer." But I already had. "Lauren?" I breathed. There was silence. Then a faint crackle of the line. "Mom!" Her voice came, raw, shaking. "Mom, please! You have to come home." Something was wrong. Lauren sounded terrified. "Where are you?" I demanded. "Home," she whispered. "They're here with me." My blood froze. "They?" I repeated. They said they won't hurt me if you come back. Please, Mom. Please hurry." The line cut. I stared into the man's grim, knowing eyes. "They took her," I whispered, voice breaking. "They have Lauren." He closed his eyes briefly, a flash of guilt or dread. "This is what I was afraid of," he murmured. "We have to go back," I said. "No," he said firmly. "That's exactly what they want. She's my daughter. And if you walk back into that house, neither of you will come out alive." I trembled violently. "Then tell me what to do," I begged. He inhaled sharply. "First," he said, "we retrieve what your mother hid. Then we negotiate." I felt the world tilt. "And if they won't negotiate?" He tightened his grip on the storage key. "Then," he said darkly, "we expose everything." Before I could respond, a shadow moved at the edge of the alley. A figure, then another. Boots. They had found us. The man grabbed my hand. Run! We ran. My lungs burned as we sprinted down the alley, the echo of boots multiplying behind us. Whoever these men were, they moved like a unit, fast, coordinated, practiced. Left, the man shouted. We veered sharply, nearly crashing into a trash bin. A shadow lunged from behind it. One of them had cut us off. The man shoved me aside just as the attacker grabbed for the key in his hand. They struggled, fists connecting with sickening thuds. The man moved with precision, but the attacker was bigger, stronger. Think! I grabbed the nearest thing I could, a broken metal pipe leaning against a shed, and swung. It connected with the attacker's shoulder. He barely reacted, but it was enough. The man twisted free and grabbed my wrist again. Move! He barked. We bolted toward a busy street, cars rushing by in both directions. We'll never cross, I gasped. We're not crossing. He dragged me toward a storm drain grate near the curb. Surely he wasn't. He knelt, pried it up with shocking strength, and dropped it aside. In, he said. That's a sewer. No, service tunnels, old ones. They won't risk following us blind. I hesitated for half a second too long. Shouts grew louder behind us. The man didn't wait. He grabbed my waist and practically shoved me down the ladder. My feet hit the bottom rung just as he slid the grate closed above us. Dark, cold, dripping water echoed through the tunnel. I clung to the ladder, shaking. He landed beside me, breathing hard. We bought time, he said, not safety. The narrow passage smelled of rust and mildew. Pipes lined the walls, old ones that were probably forgotten by the city decades ago. He pulled a small flashlight from his pocket. You're full of surprises, I whispered. I prefer prepared. We moved quickly, his light guiding us down the tunnel. Every few steps, I nearly asked the same question. Who are you, really? But the words stuck in my throat. He paused suddenly at a junction. Stop! I froze. He angled the flashlight downward. Footprints, fresh ones, not ours. Someone else had been here, recently. My stomach twisted. Do you think they're ahead of us? Or waiting? His jaw tightened. Either way, we keep moving. We took the left path, deeper underground. After several minutes, the tunnel widened into a maintenance room with rusting valves and a ladder leading upward to another grate. He checked his watch. We're far enough. We can surface. I swallowed hard. Where are we now? 3 blocks from the archive facility. The one tied to the code? Yes. My breath hitched. We're going there now? We have hours at most before they relocate your daughter or force her to cooperate. He looked at me. Getting that evidence is the only leverage we'll have. I closed my eyes. Lauren's terrified voice replayed in my mind. Please, Mom, please hurry. I opened my eyes and nodded. Then let's go. He climbed first, pushing up the grate. When he stepped onto the street, he offered me his hand. I emerged into a quiet, older part of downtown. Industrial buildings, deserted sidewalks, a cold wind cutting through everything. The man scanned the surroundings. Coast is clear. I looked around nervously. It feels wrong to just walk to a secret government facility. You won't be walking into the front door. He led me into the shadow of a warehouse and pulled out the key. The code, he explained, is not for a public building. It's for an auxiliary storage site the agency used before everything went digital. Only certain people knew it existed. And my mother was one of them. She wasn't supposed to be. His voice softened. But she discovered something, and they never forgave her. He pointed to a building at the end of the block. Red brick. No signs, no windows along the ground floor. That's it, he said. It looked abandoned. This doesn't look like a government anything, I said. Exactly, that's the point. As we approached, I noticed something, a faint humming, like machinery behind thick walls. Not an abandoned building at all. He guided me to a metal door camouflaged as part of the wall. Once we go in, he said quietly, we'll have minutes before the system logs unauthorized entry. Meaning? Meaning we move quickly. He slid the key into a concealed lock beneath a rusted panel. It clicked, and the door released with a soft hiss. Inside was a narrow hallway lit by dim fluorescent lights. This is where they kept analog evidence? I whispered. Some of it. The kind that was too dangerous to digitize. A chill crept up my spine. We reached a reinforced door with a keypad. He gestured to the code in my hand. Try it. I hesitated, but pressed the sequence. Key 7, L, T, 3, F, T, 2, 2, 1, B. The lock beeped. Turned green. The heavy door slid open. Inside were rows of metal shelves, filing cabinets, old tape reels, boxes with faded labels. The air was cold. Still, the man exhaled. Find the box matching your code. My fingers brushed over labels. FT221, FT221B, FT221A. There, FT221B. I pulled the box off the shelf. It was heavier than I expected. Metal, padlocked. My throat tightened. This is it. Yes, the man said quietly. This is what your mother risked her life to protect. My hand shook as he used his lockpick to open it. The lid creaked. Inside, a set of cassette tapes, 20 of them, a notebook, several photographs, a sealed envelope labeled, "If anything happens to me, give this to my daughter." My vision blurred. My mother wrote this, I whispered. Yes. The man lifted one of the cassette tapes. What's on those? I asked. Proof, he said. Recordings, interviews, confessions, things that implicate... He froze. What is it? I whispered. His eyes were fixed on the top of the box. On a sticker I hadn't noticed before. Marked with 2 names. Harper Elena. Harper Lauren. My blood ran cold. Why is my daughter's name on this? I whispered. He swallowed hard. Because, he said quietly, I think the agency approached your daughter years ago. My breath stopped. Years? I echoed. They might have recruited her long before you ever knew. No, I whispered. No, she wouldn't. But a sickening realization twisted in my gut. Lauren's strange phone calls, her sudden access to money, her odd secrecy, her irritation with my mother. Lauren didn't betray you this month, he said gently. She may have been working with them since she was a teenager. I felt like I might collapse. No, I repeated. She wouldn't do that. She doesn't even understand any of this. He looked at me, compassion mixed with dread. That's what scares me, he said softly. She might not have understood what she got into, until now. Before I could speak, the lights flickered. Then an alarm blared through the building. A mechanical voice echoed through the hall. Unauthorized entry detected. Lockdown in 90 seconds. The man grabbed the box. We have to go, he said. Now. I stood frozen, shaking. The envelope with my name and Lauren's lay in my hands. I clutched it to my chest. Run, he said again, pulling me toward the exit. But before we reached the door, a shadow blocked the hallway. A figure stepped into the light. A woman. Gun raised. Her voice calm. Cold. Familiar. Put the box down, she said. Mom, please, just do what they say. Lauren. For a moment, she didn't answer. She didn't have to. The silence said everything. My daughter, my child, had been their pawn long before I ever knew. Tears blurred my eyes. Lauren, they used you. No. Her breath hitched. No, they're helping me. Helping us. They said if we cooperate, they'll make sure nothing happens to you. They already took you hostage. I wasn't a hostage, she yelled. I went with them because they said you were working with criminals. They said she pointed at the man beside me, was dangerous, a traitor, a liar. The man kept his voice low, steady. Lauren, if you pull that trigger, you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for men who will discard you the second they get what they want. Lauren blinked rapidly, tears threatening to spill. Lockdown in 30 seconds. Red lights strobed across the ceiling now. Mom, Lauren whispered, voice cracking. I don't know what to do. Come to me, I said, reaching out. Just come here. We'll figure it out together. She hesitated, a single agonizing second. Then, a new voice echoed from behind her. You won't be going anywhere with her, Lauren. A tall man stepped into view from the hallway behind her. Slick suit, cold eyes, the kind of man you instantly know is a threat. The kind of man my mother would have feared. He placed a hand on Lauren's shoulder. She flinched. "Good work, Lauren," he said smoothly. "Stand aside now." Lauren froze, torn, terrified. "Sir," she whispered, "I don't think—" "Stand aside." His tone sliced like a blade. The man next to me moved subtly, positioning himself between us and the new arrival. The suited man lifted a sleek black device. Not a gun, but something worse. A signal jammer, maybe, or a remote trigger. "We'll take the box," he said calmly, "and the woman." My heart lurched. "The daughter?" one of the black-clad men behind him asked. The suited man smirked. "She's outlived her usefulness." Lauren's face fell. "No," she whispered. I gasped. "Lauren, move!" He raised a gun toward her. Everything exploded at once. A gunshot. A scream. The man beside me tackling me to the floor. Lauren stumbling backward, eyes wide. And the box clattering from my hands, sliding across the floor. The lights flickered. The alarm blared its final warning. Lockdown imminent. The heavy blast doors began to slide shut. The man grabbed my hand. "Run!" he shouted. But I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. Because Lauren, my daughter, was collapsing to the floor. Lauren hit the ground with a sound I will never unhear. Part gasp, part whimper, part disbelief. "Lauren!" I screamed. But the man pulled me backward as the blast doors thundered downward, sealing us inside the archive room. "Move!" he shouted. "We have seconds." I wrenched free of his grip and crawled to her. She lay on her side, eyes wide and terrified, her hands pressed to her stomach. Blood spiraled between her fingers. "That wasn't a kill shot," he said quickly. "Lower abdomen, slow bleed. We can stop it." Lauren let out a sharp, agonizing cry as he tore open his jacket and pulled out a small trauma kit. "You carry a medical kit?" I choked. "Old habit." He pressed gauze against the wound. Lauren screamed again, her hand clawing at my sleeve. "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "Mom, I didn't know they'd—" "I've got you," I whispered, stroking her hair with shaking fingers. "Stay with me. Just stay with me." Behind us, the blast doors sealed with a deafening clang. The lights flickered once more. Silence fell, suffocating. We were trapped. The man exhaled sharply. "We need to barricade the room. They'll cut through the door in minutes." I stared at him, trembling. "She needs a hospital." "We get out first, then I'll get her to one, I promise." He tightened the pressure against her wound. Lauren whimpered. I brushed her cheek. "Sweetheart, why didn't you tell me any of this?" A tear slid down her face. They said you stole something. They said you were unstable. That grandma, she—" Her breath hitched. "They said she tried to leak classified information. They said she was dangerous." My heart cracked. "They lied to you," I whispered. "I know," she sobbed. "I know that now. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry." Her voice broke. I gathered her against me carefully as the man stood and scanned the room. "We need to move," he said. "There's an emergency maintenance hatch in the back corner. We can pry it open." I glanced toward the shelf-lined wall, barely seeing it through my tears. "I'm not leaving her." "You're not," he said firmly. "But we need a route out. When they break in, they won't negotiate. Not with you. Not with her." He hesitated, and definitely not with the evidence. The metal box sat where it had fallen, thrown halfway across the room by the gunshot. Its lid had cracked open. The tapes and papers were scattered across the floor like secrets finally freed from decades of confinement. Lauren looked at the mess with wide, horrified eyes. That's what they wanted?" she whispered. "Yes," the man said. "This is what your grandmother died trying to protect." Lauren swallowed, pain tightening her features. What's in it?" He knelt and sifted through the papers quickly. "Testimonies," he said. "Whistleblower reports. Documents showing illegal surveillance, targeted disappearances, political bribery." He held up one tape. "Confession recordings." Lauren's face drained. "So, everything they told me was to stop this?" "They used you. the man said quietly, "but you can still make the right choice." She looked up at him with raw, aching fear. "Are we getting out of here?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, his eyes flicked to the heavy blast door. A faint grinding sound echoed from behind it. "Cutting equipment." "They're trying to breach," he said. "We have maybe 3 minutes." He handed me the small envelope I had clutched earlier, the one my mother addressed to my daughter. "Open it," he said. My hands shook violently as I tore the seal. Inside was a letter. My mother's handwriting. Steady, certain, like she knew this moment was coming. "My beautiful girl, if you're reading this, it means they found you, and it means I failed to protect you from the life I ran from." My vision blurred. "They will try to silence you the same way they tried to silence me. Do not trust them. Do not trust anyone who says they are acting in your daughter's best interest. They will use her, then discard her, just as they tried with me." My breath hitched. Lauren let out a weak sob. "The evidence in this box is enough to dismantle everything they built, but only if you survive long enough to reveal it." The grinding behind the door grew louder. The man's jaw tightened. "If you must choose between surrendering the evidence and saving your daughter, choose your daughter. Every time. The world will survive without the truth. She will not survive without you." I choked on a sob. Lauren cried harder, reaching weakly for me. "Mom, I'm so sorry." I held her tightly. The man knelt again, urgency taking over. "They're cutting through the hinges," he said. "We need to decide, now." He pointed at the evidence box. "Take it," he said, "or leave it." My pulse thundered. "What happens if we leave it?" I asked. "They'll retrieve it and kill us," he said bluntly. "All 3 of us." "And if we take it?" He hesitated. "They'll hunt us down, harder than before." Lauren whimpered. "Mom, I don't want to die." I pressed my forehead to hers, then lifted my head and looked straight at the man. "We're taking my daughter," I said, "no matter what." "And the evidence?" he asked. The grinding sound intensified. The door began to buckle inward, metal warping under the heat and pressure. Lauren squeezed my hand with what little strength she had left. "Mom, please, just choose." I made my decision. I reached out and grabbed the box. The man nodded. "Then hold on tight." He lifted Lauren into his arms. She cried out in pain, but clung to him. He kicked open the maintenance panel in the corner, revealing a dark vertical shaft. Alarms blared through the room. The door behind us began to crack. The last thing I heard before we dropped into the darkness below. "Breach in 10 seconds. All unauthorized individuals will be terminated." And then we fell